So this week has certainly started with a bang. The arrest of that Deputy Police Commissioner in connection with tender fraud, Lieutenant General Bonang Mgwenya, Deputy Commissioner responsible for human resource management in the police. She became, I think, the 9th police officer arrested in connection with that multi-million rand blue lights tender dating back to 2017. Police Commissioner Kehla Sitole, commenting on today's arrest, says nobody's above the law. But just how difficult is it to investigate suspected dodgy cops? I'm joined now by author and former Sars executive Johann van Loggerenberg. He's just released a new book, Cop Undercover, My Life in the Shadows, with drug lords, robbers and smugglers. Good evening to Johan. I just want to test that our line is clear and you can hear me.
I can hear you fine.
Fantastic.
Good evening.
Fantastic. Let's talk about your book. I believe it's just come out, and it's about spying for the public good. You're an undercover cop, mingling with many criminals. Tell us a little bit about this time. Obviously, it's before you joined SARS.
Yes, in a sense, it sets the record straight in respect of the false claims that I was an apartheid spy, and it tells the story of how I actually was a deep cover agent for the democratically elected government since 1994 until late 1998 when I joined the South African Revenue Service.
You know, when cops have to get close to criminals undercover, it must be very hard to keep that line between right and wrong clear and straight. I mean, after all, you have to get to know the suspects. You get to see their personal motivations. You get to hear about their personal stories and their pain. How do you keep that line in mind while assimilating yourself deep undercover? How did you do it?
I don't know. I guess it takes a lot of discipline. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of preparation and planning. But it also takes a strong team. And so, although you are the operative out there mingling with the bad guys, the fact of the matter is that you're being supported at all times by people from the prosecutorial end of business end and those people that are known as handlers. And they make sure that, you know, every second of what you do is foreseen, monitored, recorded, and done properly and in accordance with the law.
So it does rely on a strong support network, as you say, people that keep you grounded. Tell us a little bit about what exactly you investigated while you were undercover. What did you discover? Well,
in total, I was involved in 29 projects all over the country, with some legs that ran to South America and some into Europe. And I worked in quite a wide field. I was involved in syndicates that imported mandrax. We brought down quite a large network that supplied ecstasy and LSD to the South African market and elsewhere in the world, with connections to North America. I mingled with some bank robbers, all sorts actually. It was a few years. I was undercover for quite some time.
What sort of personal toll does that take on you? I would imagine it's very difficult to have a personal life when you're undercover. There must be so much that you cannot tell your friends and family.
Well, you don't tell anybody anything because in effect you cut ties with your family and friends. And you know, the best analogy that I can think of is that of method acting, where you assume the persona of the character that you act out, and ultimately you become as close to that character as possible. And over time, you draw on less of your old memories and more of those new memories that you create in this pretend world that you live in.
You have to tread that line so carefully, as you're explaining, because it does become your bigger reality when you're undercover. I'm wondering, having had to keep that line between good and bad as a cop so clear in your mind, under enormous pressure perhaps to change your mind, what makes a cop turn bad? Is it just simply greed and opportunity?
I don't think there's a single answer to that question. I mean, if you conduct yourself as an undercover police agent properly, then every time that you interact with the bad guys, you make sure that the surveillance team is doing their work, you make sure that your recording device works well, and your planning must be in place. And so in that sense, everything you do, is being monitored, it's being recorded, and that other people are watching you. So in that sense, I think it's a little bit difficult to do something stupid while knowing that you're actually busy recording it. Mm. But why, in general, people, become corrupt, I don't think, there's anything unique to the few police officials that become corrupt. I think it's more a case of opportunity that knocks and your value system that, isn't as it should be. And we must also not forget, a lot of these prominent arrests that you've just reported on and the high-ranking officers that seem to be implicated, key to that is, I think, the fact that we must look at the dates during which these alleged crimes occurred. And you will find that they all occurred around about the time of state capture and just in the wake thereof, when our law enforcement agencies and other parts of the criminal justice system were literally, broken down or limping along. So in that sense, if there's no threat of discovery or consequence, I think those people that are going to take chances will feel even more bold.
So on the one hand, we're seeing people arrested. Obviously, they're still suspects until proven guilty, but we're seeing cops, potentially suspected dodgy cops, arrested. But on the other, we're seeing phenomenal police officers, such as Charles Kinnear, who was gunned down on the 18th of September. There's clearly still a long way to go to get to the bottom of what is going on in the South African police service. Do you think it can rid itself of corruption?
I don't think we have any alternative. I think people must put in the hard work. I think we must not expect miracles. We must be realistic. These type of investigations require a lot of time and effort. They are never 100% guaranteed prosecutions, but we must keep at it. And I think the important thing for everybody to remember is that the bulk of South Africans are good people. And what we see now is really the consequence of what I believe to be state capture and the climate of lawlessness that was created as a result of that. But let's support our law enforcement agencies and everybody else who's busy reclaiming our future.
Well, I must say your book sounds fascinating, and I didn't realize that you were an old office boy, which is always good to know. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Former Sars executive Johann van Loggerenberg has just released a new book, Cop Undercover, My Life in the Shadows with Drug Lords, Robbers and Smugglers.